There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
Fantastic.
You're already dropping stuff.
Already dropping stuff. We've got a busy day. It's cold outside. It's snowing in Orlando. No, it's not.
No,
snowing
it's not.
But it is snowing in Florida, which is kind of crazy.
Very crazy. Yeah, it should never snow in Florida, period.
No.
And even like, what were you saying, Louisiana, New Orleans?
Yeah, there was, where was this? Trisha's got, hello from New Orleans area, 5 to 8 inches of snow today.
Wow.
That is a no from me. Not doing it. Now, I was a child growing up in Jacksonville in 1989, 7 years old, and it snowed there.
Wow.
Snowed in Jacksonville in 89. That's our big claim to fame. Like, was that 30-something years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. 35 years ago?
It can happen.
It can happen.
Supposed to get some ice there tonight.
They're acting
see.
like they're closing the airport and they're doing all kinds of stuff. I think even like University of Florida in Gainesville's canceling classes.
Yeah.
So
We take that snow serious down here.
I guess. So anyway, yeah, pretty wild that it's snowing. So hopefully everybody is they're staying safe, staying warm, and just in all reality, it's just time to switch to soup mode. That's all it is. Just go right to soup mode, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we have episode 118.
We do. Talking about power wrapping tonight,
Yes.
which we're going to be using the G2 power wrapper, the full lathe setup with our pro stands and all that good stuff.
Yep.
But it's not just about power wrapping. We're going to show you a few other really cool aspects of rod building that you can do on this G2 setup. I know a lot of you guys at home that are watching probably purchased one of these G2 wrappers for maybe Christmas or got it as a gift.
Hopefully Santa got you one for sure.
Hopefully. So we're going to show you some tips and tricks on how to use this thing. Not just power wrapping, but we're going to do some decorative aspects. We're going to talk about, Chris is going to shape some EVA blocks, which I think is a first on this show. I'm not sure if we've shown that before.
Well, yeah, we've sanded some and we've
Sanded
done some
some.
stuff, but we are going to make a mess tonight. I'm talking, it's going to be a mess.
And also we're going to dive into some power finishing.
Okay.
Finishing at high speed, which is definitely recommended if you have this type of setup. We're going to talk about a few easy ways to do fast tape arbors, which, you can bang those out very quickly on a power wrapper.
Yes.
And we got some really cool other tips and tricks we'll dive into later on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What else we got?
We
Got some new products.
Yeah, we got some new products. And of course, hopefully, I spoke to one of the gurus in rod building who is also a pro team member, ambassador, whatever you want to call her, Mary Christie.
Yeah.
So we all know, if you don't know Mary Christie, her and Wes have an incredible rod building. They're the power couple of rod building. I'll just put it like that, right? No offense to any other couples in rod building, but they set the bar pretty high. So you see their videos. Mary's doing decorative work. She's doing EVA work. A lot of cool stuff. I'm going to give you the basics. I am not going to portray myself as an expert at this. I know how to do it. I just don't ever do it because most of the time I just need to finish a fishing rod and go fish with it. But there's going to be some stuff here that then you can accelerate on with a lot of her videos and things like that. I spoke to her today. Hopefully she's going to sneak into the chat here, answer some questions. So as we have done for all previous 117 episodes, fire away with your questions. I'll get to as many as I can. Hunter's going to get to some while I'm doing some work. Hopefully Mary's going to be in there. And of course, the guys are going to be putting up links from the war room all night long, as usual. So, yeah. Hunter, I know we got some new products in, and if you guys are on the email list, you should have heard about it today.
I believe so. Yep. So we have some new American Tackle tie forged guide kits. So a few months ago, we released, kind of an entry selection of American Tackle tie forged guide kits and salvo guide kits. We've expanded that. Now we are going to be offering within that tie forged guide series, we're going to be offering kits in double foot spin and cast. So, your spinning options, casting options, got both of those, and some micro guide kit trains, which will be in standard frame options and also high frame options as well. So got some good stuff there. And we're going to continue to look to expand these American Tackle guide kits down the road. And we're going to keep, looking at options for those. So if you got anything you want to see, put it in the chat right now, whether it's maybe some Vertis kits, whether it's a specific technique or application you do. Give us some recommendations. We'll take a look and see what we can add soon.
Yeah, Uncle Bob is working very, very hard on all of these. So
absolutely.
We like it. He's done a lot of really cool kits, and he's measuring. He's really dialing it in to the next level. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble concentrating here with Hunter's new mustache going on. We've got him on the show tonight just in case a fire breaks out while we're doing this. He's going to put the fire out. And, there's a few people in here talking about that you look great with it. You look like quite a star, if you will. And
interesting.
so, yeah.
That's not what I was going for.
No, well, it is what it is. But all the kits that Bob's doing, he is doing spacing, sizing, and he's helping you guys dial in what reel that goes along with that guide kit. Because so many times, I'm a high frame fan, so there's a lot of high frame kits in the new sets. And you do kind of have to dial in a little bit and go like, well, I wouldn't run a 5,000 size reel with this guide kit. So we're dialing it in even tighter for y'all. So, yeah, and I saw that Mary is in there. She also said that I guess Wes is also rocking the stash.
Nice.
So I guess it's catching on.
Yes.
It's not going to catch on over here, but it's
oh, come on.
It's catching on. All right, let's. Did we talk about the giveaways yet?
Not yet.
All right, so Hunter, it's after the holidays. We're clear past Santa and all that stuff. So Hunter's got the credit card paid off. We're going to do the RDS Rod Drying System tonight as the first giveaway. The second giveaway is going to be a mud hole rod kit of choice. So we're starting off the year pretty big here. And the grand prize is we're just going to give you a G2 Power Wrapper. We can't talk about it all night long and then not finish it out and give you guys a G2 Power Wrapper. So, yeah, that's a pretty good hit there to the credit card this early.
It is.
All right, let's just go ahead and dive in. We are going to start with some kind of decorative wrapping stuff on the Power Wrapper because, we all have learned on a hand wrapper, or most of us. I still have a hand wrapper at home. I do have the Power Wrapper, but it's not set up all the time. I just don't have the space. For any of y'all that live in South Florida, you understand that space is not at a maximum. It's at a very minimum. So me and a hand wrapper and TV trays and things like that, that's how I build fishing rods. But I do have a Power Wrapper, so we're going to talk about some of that. If I'm building a saltwater rod and I am doing under wraps, this is the key, because it's amazing how like a 3 or a 4 inch under wrap can just twist your wrist off on a hand wrapper. So we're going to show you how to do that. And then also, of course, how many shows ago did we do the dragon scale?
2, 3?
2, 3?
Yeah.
So the dragon scale is also another good option for this. I'm going to do an abbreviated version. I'm going to show you how to lay it out, show you how to stick it down, and then go from there. We have a couple different wrapping setups here. I've got the 2-spool thread carriage here. I run the 2-spool thread carriage on the back side. Okay? So it's on the back side here. Then what we do is I run it up to the thread runner here in the front. Okay? So got the thread runner in the front and the 2-spool thread carriage with the tension rod on the back. I'm a tension rod person. I don't know if maybe just because That's how I learned all those years ago on the old CRB hand wrapper. But it allows me to do things, go backwards, go forwards, and I don't have to worry about cutting and doing all that stuff. Because again, I don't wrap a ton on the RBS Pro G2 because I just, like on a small spinning rod, sometimes I'm just replacing a guide, fixing it, moving on with life, right? But when I sit down and build stuff for my sailfish rods or anything like that where I'm wrapping a longer thread, I'm going to show you how to do that. So, switch. All right, we'll do that. Sure. So there's a couple things that, let me get this out of there. You can already see how much of a mess I was making earlier. That's the hand and tool rest, which is pretty cool. We're gonna use that in a little bit. So when I am setting up my under wraps, holy moly, this is all night long, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so when I'm doing my under wraps, I will go through and, if I had a China marker or a marker. So what I go through, I will set each guide foot. So I will measure a guide foot and I will transfer it to my digital caliper. Now, for the first couple stripper guides, I do keep a very, like, I try to make sure that everything looks equal, okay? Now that is to say, if you have a size 20 double foot guide, I'm not going to do the same length under wrap as I'm going to do on a size 8 double foot. But I am going to have my guides laid out and I'm going to take quick measurements in terms of like, okay, I'm going to measure my guide feet. Let's say that those are your guide feet. And I'm just going to go from there. Stand by. I'm going to measure like that, a guide foot, and then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to transfer it and I'm going to mark it. And then I'm just going to go all the way down. Okay? So with that being said, you're going to have you'll have more than likely 3 transition guides down, you know, a main stripper, smaller, and then you'll go out to your runners. So you're really then, when you go to your runners, let's say you're running 8s on the way out, which is what I do on most of my sailfish rods. You're just going to measure once and then you go through, and I actually mark with a Sharpie a lot because I'm going to cover it up. So it's a very fine tip marker and you just go through it and it's easy. Now, this is when I am using a 2-spool thread carriage. I go off the bottom of the spool here, okay? Off the bottom. I go through here, which is the first eye, that eye right there. And then I go up to the tension rod, okay? So go to that side view, Uncle Phil, real quick. All right, so off the bottom of the spool here to this eye. These eyes are adjustable. You can turn it this way, turn it that way. And then I go up to the tension rod before I come back down to my center. Now, let's pay attention here because that tension is about 90 degrees, okay? We don't like much more tension than that. So we get that question a ton. How much tension are we adding? 90 degrees. Don't go past 90 degrees. Bad things can happen. I say that with the tension rod and with your rod blank on the deflection chart. You've seen me use a deflection chart before here on the show plenty of times, and everybody goes, well, how far do we need to deflect these blanks? Go that far, 90 degrees, okay? It's a tiny bit more than 90 degrees because it's like kicked back a little bit, but you don't need to go any more than this. This is going to give you plenty of tension. It's not going to break this. It's not going to apply too much pressure to your rod blank. So then what we do is, and the 2-spool is also compatible with the magnets. I haven't changed this one over yet because I haven't used it in a while, but it is compatible with the magnets.
Lots of mentions about the magnets in chat, so
I had a feeling it was coming.
yeah, highly recommend those.
I could feel it. So I got a little too much. We're just going to back it off a little. I'm just dialing it back, right? All right. So we're going to, I like to do 2 wraps most of the time. The good thing about the power wrapper is that you can just reach over here and adjust it with your one hand, right? It locks it down pretty quick. Then I am going to find my pedal, which I've kicked this thing around all night long. I don't remember where I got this. Now, one quick thing. On this side of the RBS Pro, right here where you see my hand. Okay, this is the control box. You can see my fingers here in the bottom left. This is a control box. It has a number on it, okay? This number has nothing to do with RPMs, okay? But it will give you a repeatable speed so that if you are comfortable at running this thing wide open, and when I mean wide open, this thing is like sling finish off the rod and stick it to the ceiling quick. So we don't need to do that, especially when we're wrapping, okay? But it is something that you know that you'll be able to dial in over here. It's just a nice little knob. And then what it allows you to do is you can stand on this pedal. Like I have the pedal to the floor and nothing is moving. It's because I have the dial all the way down. As I adjust the dial, I can then find the speed. See, it's just barely starting to turn. I mean, barely, barely, barely. Then we can dial it up a little at a time. And what it allows you to do is find just a nice smooth speed, right? And then I can adjust my thread runner here, just nice and smooth, okay? For those at home, the number on my control box says 46. Again, it's not 46 RPMs, okay? Like I said, you can dial this thing up really quick, and we're going to show you how to do that and why you would do that in a little bit. But it really allows you to pick the speed that you like, and then it is repeatable the next time we hit the pedal again. I got the pedal to the floor, and we're just sliding that runner, okay? And I can push over my 2-spool thread carriage a little bit, and then I can adjust my thread runner for a lot more precise kind of movements in here. Now remember, that's a pretty good length. I don't even know what this is. Let me check what this is. Okay, so that's only 1.6 inches, right? There is more snow on the ground in Pensacola, Florida than there is thread right there. That, and I understand you guys give me crap all the time. I understand that I might be long-winded, but I want to make sure I'm covering all the bases. I would have still been hand turning this rod the entire time while I'm yapping my yap to get 1.5 inches right there, except I can just step on it and go. Now, one thing to be cautious of, if you crank this thing up, you are then going to have to feather the pedal, right? You're going to have to try to balance on one leg, you know, kind of drive it a little bit, and then you're going to go, oh, this is too, oh, that's too fast. Oh, that's too slow. Think of this dial over here as like a cruise control. So you can set it to whatever, and you don't even have to put your thread down. You can put the blank in here and step on this thing and go, okay, yeah, I think that's about it, before you even start thread wrapping, so that then you don't get caught like, oh, I had it turned all the way up, and then you start your thread wrapping without paying attention, and you step on that pedal, and you have a backlash of the century. So I like to start all the way down or very low, especially for the people who are just getting going in the power wrapping game. That will help you dial your speed in, and then from there, it is just very repeatable. And that's what makes it nice. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this off here with a quick, I want to talk about a little bit of thread burnishing too here real quick. I'm going to pull out from up under the spool there and relax it. I know that's elementary, but hey, we might have some new people in here tonight. Or their brain might just be running a little slow because it's frozen. Who knows? All right. Another thing that I would recommend, this is why you have to be very careful when you mess with grip turning and thread wrapping all in the same thing. Now, this is something that I have sort of learned the hard way. And I don't know if this is exactly how we teach this, Hunter Man, but this thread burnishing tool is great. Wonderful. I love it. I use it a lot. It's plastic. It does a really great job of digging in there and getting a very precise, it's pointed, it's very smooth. There's no like seams or really sharp edges, except for where there are edges where they need to be, right here on the outside, where you can just really lean over and push something, right? We're pushing it again. One thing I will caution you, if you take this and you run this power wrapper wide, I say wide open, I don't mean wide open, but if you run it like really fast and you lean on this thing, you are going to groove anything plastic. I'm talking anything plastic. Doesn't even have to be this. So just be aware that if you're trying to like really burnish at a high speed and get things really, really smooth, I have talked about this before. This is not new. This is something that I talk about all the time. I am using these metal ones. Keep them very clean. And then this is the probe set. It's a 5-piece set, I think.
Correct.
Now, FlexCoat has the old school like bone one.
They do.
That's a really cool burnishing tool. We have it. I don't remember the part number, and not to put you on the spot, but it is the FlexCoat bone one. Now, if you look here,
BBT.
this has like a little paddle on it. The paddle is also curved a little bit, okay? This is very smooth. You can also lean it on its side and run the power wrapper. And it is a little hard to see here, but you know, there's a few gaps. But I can lean on this thread pretty good and work that thread back and forth. Because remember, the thread is round and you're smashing it flat at times, and that's what helps close it in a little bit. That's how you get really, really tight and you get rid of those lines. I can run this a little bit quicker and use metal or that bone one and not have to worry about, we're not going to melt any plastic. Okay? So that's just something to keep in mind. Don't go throwing these away. Don't go throwing these away and saying that they're junk or whatever, because they're not. But that looks much better when I run over it quickly with this. And again, I've told you I'm somebody that puts finish on my under wraps before I go over the top of it. And what I typically do is I will have all of these pre-marked, and I'll just boom, 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 go all the way down the rod. I'll wrap them all. I'll come back. I will burnish them all. So I'm like burnishing this one, then I go to that one, then I go to that one, and then I come back and I finish them all. So for those that, you know, are doing a little bit of production work, the power wrapper is really going to speed that up too. And the other, I'm not going to show you, but we have talked about it before, and I will pass along the tip if you don't know this. You can take, do we have RDS black back here? No, it's metallic. Okay. I just thought of this. I was not planning on this, but so the thread color 865 in black, if you get it in regular nylon, you can, a lot of the guys will wrap regular nylon, 862 is the color code, in black as an overwrap for conventional saltwater stuff. The reason that you can do that is you can go up and back and over, and you know, like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you can go up and back, and you don't have to burnish things, you don't have to tighten everything. Just make sure you cover all your gaps, and it will look as solid black as one layer, perfectly burnished, but it has to be 862 in regular nylon. The color fast does not work. It has to be black 862 nylon. So you can cheat a little bit, but that's what the power wrapper is great for. And when I cheat and I do things like that, I will wrap like this. So I don't typically, if you're putting the black in the two-spool thread carriage, it's not as easy. I feel that when we do that and we cheat, I will, of course, because it's live, we're going to slip on us here. I will start off the thread wrap. I'm going to go, well, hang on, let me go this way. I will start off the thread wrap. Now remember, this purple is black, okay? Just because you couldn't see black very well, so I'm going to show you here. I will take it and I'll start off the wrap. Imagine we're going to go up on a guide foot. And I will wrap. Let me get my hand in here in the screen. I will wrap like this, okay? And I can control it and go up this way. And then if you have the black, and then we'll come back this way. And you can jump it and come back this way. Now you really are just not going to do that many passes, but I just wanted to show you with purple, because black would have been difficult to see. So just imagine, using your imaginations at home, this is black 862 regular nylon. Now another thing, when I am wrapping like this just on my hand, if you notice I'm holding the spool vertical. If I hold the spool like this, the thread is going this way and the thread is going like this, back and forth. So if I hold it like this, I have to fight two directions. Now it's not too bad, but it's easier to make that little gap of a mistake. If you turn it like this, let me get it going back. If you turn it like this, it's only going to come off from one spot, and then you can just walk it right down. Now the thread is coming, it's going up and down, up and down, up and down, but it's not going this way. So you're not having to go this way and that way. All right? This is riveting, I know. This is just riveting stuff. So
how about let's hit Richard's question here. This is a good one. At what point does it make sense to get a power wrapper? Experience level, number of rods being built, or just because I want one? What do you think? What's the pivot or the upgrade? What's that time frame look like? Or is there a time frame?
I don't call it a time frame as much as like what are you building? And I know I might catch a little bit of flack for this. And I could just say, you know, everybody should have a power wrapper and go out and spend all that money and get one. But I will say there are people out there that I don't believe that if you're just building a fly rod that a power wrapper is going to do a ton of good just for the wrapping. For the other stuff, you know, we're going to be doing like cork, handles, custom stuff like that. If you're going to use it for other additional things, then at that point you got to have one, right? But if you're just going to sit down and only build like one double foot guide, you're going to glue your handle up, you're going to put a double footed guide on, and then you're going to go to single foot guides and wrap your bass rod, and you're not doing it to save time, I would just get very proficient at a hand wrapper.
Yeah.
Now there are guys out there that are just absolute stars, like our buddy down the road, Alex Tarasenko. Hopefully you guys follow Cinco Sticks on social media. He can fly with a power wrapper, and he's pretty much only building bass rods, but he's building a lot of rods. I don't do that volume, so for me to sit down and knock it all out, like, yeah, it's great to get faster and faster and faster, but the power wrapper will certainly speed things up. But don't feel like that you just have to, when you get into rod building for the first go round, be like, well, I got to get me a power wrapper right out of the jump. But you know, you can.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's kind of one of those things. It can be different reasons, right? It can be multiple reasons. It can be if, you know, you are wanting to take that next step up to, you know, being actually building rods and selling them, you know, to your buddies or customers. If you're looking for the, you know, the upgrade and you need it for volume, completely makes sense. If you're building a lot of personal rods and you want to get into custom EVA handles or wrapping and finishing under power, I think then that obviously warrants an upgrade. But like Chris said, you know, and especially if you're confined on space, that really is, that can be a constraint. You know, if you don't have a, you know, space in your garage or workshop to be able to put, you know, an 8-foot long, you know, tracks in a full lathe, if space is, you know, confined, then there's nothing wrong with a hand wrapper. It can get it done. A hand wrapper and 1 or 2 RDS dryers. Chris, how long have you been building rods that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 plus years
yeah,
now,
for sure.
12, 15
Yeah,
years?
exactly.
So it definitely can work, but to me, there's a few, or there can be multiple reasons, or not just one reason why you'd want to upgrade. It really kind of comes down to, you know, do you want to turn it into a business? Do you want to do more volume? Do you want to add in some of these other aspects of rod building that, you know, you really can't do with just a hand wrapper, such as turning EVA grips or things like that? You know, those are some of the reasons why, you know, I feel like upgrading to a power wrapper makes sense. It's a pretty hefty investment. You really, you know, make sure it's what you want and fits what you, you know, you want to do in rod building. But I agree with you. I'd love to sell everybody a power wrapper because, you know, there is obviously a need in certain occasions, but I also don't think that everyone needs a power wrapper at the same time.
For
so
sure.
Anyway.
Awesome. What else we got?
Let's see.
I'm just kind of getting...
Yeah, shout out to Alex at Cinco Sticks. We love working with those guys. Alex and Jen, great people. They build great rods. Let's see what else we got.
We'll have to maybe like have them in here at some time.
Yeah,
they could break away from their busy schedule.
Well, if you guys haven't seen, we do have a video on our YouTube channel, Mudhole Custom Tackle YouTube channel. It's the what's the series name? Remind me.
Built to Build?
Built to Build series. And we got not only Cinco Sticks, but we also did one with JL Leffler Custom Rods down in Jupiter. 2 great videos for you guys to check out if you want to kind of see a little bit different aspect of rod building, a little bit more on the, you know, smaller production side, I guess I would say, you know. Really cool videos. Check those out. Let's see what else we got here.
All right, I'm just going to knock this out real quick. I know I showed it before. Mesh tape. We joke and laugh that it's the cheater way of doing it. I wouldn't say that, but we joke about it. For this, it's really just like the long wrap that I just did there. You're going to take your mesh tape if you want to do it, right? Wide mesh tape. I cut it in half, okay? So I've got just a half of it. I leave one side open. So there's individual strands that make this up. This is why it's a grid. I leave the outer edge on this side solid, and then I pull the outer edge off of this one. That's so that you don't have 2 solids together. Then you're actually going to like throw a little bit of caution to the wind here when you tack this down, because you are going to have to play with the angle, and it's based off the thickness of, I'm sorry, the width of this. Okay, so you're going to have to sort of play with it a little bit, but I've done it before, so I can get at least pretty close. And now you see why when we're laying this down, the open side is coming around and touching the solid side. Okay? Now again, the power wrapper is excellent for this, among other decorative wraps, because you are now going to have to cover this entire length of mesh tape with thread. So you lay this down, and again, this mesh tape is kind of, it's got little fiberglass type of, you know, threads. You can see this kind of wobbles. You can move it a little bit as you tack it down, because it is going to change based off of the taper of the rod blade, right? So you have that, and then you're just going to make a long wrap over the top of it, okay? Just like I was showing you with the long wrap like this, you're just going to do a long wrap over this. Pay close attention. We've talked about it before. It needs to be metallic, okay? If it's just regular nylon, it's not really going to pop like you want it to pop, And I don't think I have one that I finished in here, but probably should have. Anyway, so you want to do metallic over the top of this. Also, when you're doing your metallic, just like we talked about on the Dragon Scale show, if you're doing it on the power wrapper and you're putting the metallic into a thread carriage, be even more mindful with the tension, okay? Because you don't want it to be so tight that you like stretch the metallic to the point where it doesn't have its like kind of metallic-y anymore. It's always going to maintain its metallic-y because that's what it's made out of. But if you pull it so tight, it'll actually dull the metallic. And if you haven't done a Dragon Scale yet with the Fuji, what's the new Fuji one called?
Prisma?
Prisma?
I think so.
Okay. Prisma, use it. It's incredible. We showed it on the Dragon Scale show. Uncle Phil, do you remember what number that was? It was recent though, like 115, 114, 116, something like that. Was it before? I think it was before the Q&A show. So October? Yeah. So go back and look at the October show, and we did Dragon Scale. The Power Wrapper is great for that. And that's on that show, we showed the quote cheater way that I just showed you with this mesh tape. And then we also showed you the more advanced way using an 8-axis wrap. But I would probably wait until, go ahead and get your Power Wrapper and then wait until February because the butt wrap alignment tools are going to be back.
Coming soon, a couple weeks away.
Very, very soon. We usually get, what, 3 questions about the butt wrap alignment tool on every show?
We are weeks away from getting that thing back.
So there you go. Everybody's going to rejoice.
Yep.
Are there any questions?
Got a
before
couple
we
questions. Samantha's got a good question here.
making a
This is
giant
it's a product question I'm going to hit on here. So what's the difference between the CRB Pro Power Wrapper Kit and the Ultimate Power Wrapper Kit? 2 main differences. The stands that you get, the Ultimate Kit is going to have the Pro stands, and the Power Wrapper Kit is just going to have the normal CRB roller stands. The other difference is going to be your thread carriage. The Power Wrapper Kit is going to get the 2-spool. The Ultimate Kit is going to get the 4-spool. So a couple differences there, 2 main differences that set those kits apart. But honestly, they're both great products. So you can't go wrong.
I like both. I mean, we use the 4-spool here a lot. The 2-spool is really nice and nimble and easy. The 4-spool though is great. And we're probably going to do a show on it soon, so I didn't want to necessarily touch on it tonight. But in terms of decorative wraps, the Power Wrapper is also great and almost like a must with, what is it? Golly, not Dragon Scale. Tiger Wrap.
Tiger Wrap. Okay.
Jeez Louise. Sorry, I was reading on the teleprompter and lost my mind there for a second. If you have a 4-spool and a Power Wrapper, the Tiger Wrap is, I wouldn't say you have to have it, but you got to have it. So that's a great option to have the 4-spool with a Power Wrapper.
One more quick question if you want to answer this one for us.
Yeah.
Mark has a question here. How much tension should the rollers have on the rod? That's actually a good one that we typically kind of gloss over. So
yeah, that is a good question.
You want to hit it or you want me?
I mean, I snug them down pretty good. I've never noticed these really to mark anything up. I mean, these wheels do a good job. I like mine to be, secure. If you look at them at an angle, these wheels, although they're non-marking, they are like soft enough that you can watch them like kind of depress a little bit. So in here, when it comes down and touches your rod blank, right, they just rest right on the rod blank and you set it down. I don't want to push these, like the silicone rubber, I don't want to push it flat, right? Yeah, here you go. So right here, see how it kind of comes up there? All right, we're going to drop it on it, right? I'm going to lock it down. See how it kind of depresses it just a little bit? I'm going to take it back off. Ooh, man. You're going to like be able to read my DNA with that new camera. Get zoomed in that thing. All right, so see how it kind of rises up there? Kind of compresses a little bit. We don't want to mash that thing so far down, but that's in there. I mean, like in there. So what I will say too is pay attention if you are running this at high speeds, and even more so with mandrels and such. don't forget about the bottom locking nut, because if you just have the top locking nut down on this arm, you can get a little vibration in this arm because you see that there's your O-ring right there. Pay attention to the top being locked, because obviously it's going to lock from the top, and that is going to secure you here and kind of depress that down. But don't forget to then take and bring this guy up and snug this back up, because it's going to take a little bit, you know, of wiggle room out of that when you are running this thing at very high speeds. Because like I said, this thing will go. So just something to pay attention.
Yeah. Let's do a giveaway. What do you think?
Hit it.
Let's do it. So first,
I can't believe we can hear the rain outside.
no, first
It's not snow.
It's not snow. First giveaway of the night. We're gonna do an RDS Rod Drying System. You get to pick the voltage. We got 9 and 18 to choose from. So whatever your preference is there. Let's run that first giveaway and see what we got for tonight.
Remember what? I guess we'll go.
All right, Braden S. And as usual, if you guys are, if you've been here a little bit, we got to call in that last name from the war room. We'll get it in just a second. Confirm that last name. Can't be too many Bradens listening, but you never know.
There's Braden and Caden and Jaden and Aiden and all that, but maybe just one Braden S in the show today.
All right, stand by, stand by.
What are we going to do next? We're going to make a mess.
Make a mess. Turn some grips. All right.
It's going a long way.
Must be a really long last name.
It's going all the way to Mission Control in Houston. Here we go.
What? Stand by.
What is happening? Is the snow messing with?
All right. Yeah, there it comes. It's coming in right now. There, okay. Saget. Okay. Braden. I almost said Brandon. Sorry. Yeah. Braden Saget.
Cool.
Awesome. Congrats, Braden. Good gift there.
We're doing Morse
giveaway.
Code from the hallway.
It threw me off a little bit. Anyway, get back on track here. As usual, email live@mudhole.com, LIVE. Claim that prize, and we'll get you taken care of. All right.
Time to make a mess?
What do you got for us next?
All right.
The fun demo, right?
Yeah, fun demo. Okay. Let's get this. We can just like slide it down there. That's fine. All right. And this is where I saw Mary's in the chat tonight. So
she's going to set you straight.
She's the expert. Okay. Whenever I have messed around with my EVA grips, we've done a couple. We've done like different color stuff, you know, with rings and such. You might have seen we did this grip on the, what was it, the Beetlejuice rod that we fished up in Boston, and Guffey fished with it and everything. We've done a couple different colors. These are the rings, and we use the cork ring slicers. You can actually put these EVA circles in ring slicers, right? Now, the unique part about when you buy these blocks and these like sticks, this grip is this. What is this? SM18, I think, is what it's called?
CM.
CM.
SM is the steel mandrels. Yep.
Yes, sir. So, CM18. So, the unique thing about this is longer than the mandrel. So, we have to cut these, and it depends on how you want to cut it and what you're using. Now, if you get fancy and you have power tools at home, they're cutting them with all different kinds of saws and such. The best part is you can have a table saw that also has like an infinite range of degree cuts, right? If you want to do 22 degree cuts, 10 degree cuts, and you can get all kind of wild. There is an absolute endless array of different things that you can do with slicing these or slicing these. And what's the part number on these blocks?
EVA block.
Sweet, EVA block. So if you want to get into this and you already have a power wrapper and you want to dabble in it, you can use a miter box. Okay? So you can use a miter box. It's got 45-degree cuts, a 90-degree cut, and even an angle cut. Okay? You'd be surprised how dense these EVA blocks are when you start cutting. This is a very inexpensive way to dabble in this. Okay? Like I said, you can get really, really mild. You can go mild to wild on it. So if you want to dabble in it, you can. Now, what do we do with square blocks? We can't just start sanding them. Okay? So I kind of did a little bit of, this is what it looks like as you start and stop. Obviously, I put, Mardi Gras is coming up soon, so we did a little purple and green. I put one cut in it, okay? Very, very basic, but put it together. This one has holes drilled in it, okay? All of our blocks, right, have holes in them.
Yes.
All of the blocks have holes in them. All the CM18s have holes in them.
Correct.
All right. I was just monkeying around with this today. I used contact cement to put this together, just like I used contact cement to put this together. Just remember, contact cement, when it sticks, it sticks. I typically will do 2 layers on each side. Like if we're going to stick these two together, hand me that contact cement. I'm not going to glue it, but Weldwood contact cement. It's like the OG contact cement. And again, Mary, if you want to chime in here at any point in time and say, I don't use that, I use whatever, because I know when I make my custom cork grips at home, a lot of people use Tight Bond 3. I still use Pro Paste and have an incredible bond and no glue lines and everything. So there is a little bit different way of doing these. I do like the Weldwood contact cement. What you're going to do is you are going to paint this side and this side. Set it aside. Let it dry about 5 minutes. It skins over a little bit. We're talking a very thin coat. When you got one coat, come back. You're going to do another coat. Paint it here, let it sit for another few minutes, and then get ready, because when you stick it, it's stuck. So if you go like this and you miss, it's there. So if you have a hole drilled in it, go ahead. These are the 3/8 holes on a 3/8 mandrel. So the good news is the contact cement doesn't go like everywhere. So you can like thread this on and slide it down, and then slide this one on and stick them together and then slide it off. So it's really kind of easy, and you don't have to worry about, like, the contact cement isn't going to ooze like Pro Paste can at times, right?
Mary did confirm that's the one. Contact cement. Yep.
Perfect. All right, I'm 1 for 1 so far, everybody. All right. Now, let's make a mess. I will say, are we going to be able to see? Let me slide this up a little. Okay, so before we start getting comments, okay, this is a power wrapper, all right? And I say that because it does an incredible job at what it was designed to do. And I'm not saying it wasn't designed to turn grips, because it also does a great job at that. But understand, watch when I turn this, it's going to go away from me. You can't cut with a chisel going away from you, okay? So if you are not able to walk around your power wrapper completely, it's going to be tough. But if you can get to the other side of your power wrapper, like I can, I'm going to show you how I cut it. I do get out, handed tool rest, safety first here. It just does a really, really nice job of allowing you to rest your tool securely against something. It also allows you, so this is locked in, all right? Locked in here in the center track. It's got T-bolts in it. It allows you to pivot this, slide it in, slide it out, kick it over this way, and you can slide it this way or slide it this way, okay? So you just unlock the T-bolts and slide a little like that. lock the T-bolts back in, and you're in, okay? So see, it doesn't want to move. Unlock the T-bolts and we can slide it. But you can adjust it and pivot it like this, slide it closer, slide it farther, however like that. Now you notice this has already been monkeyed with today.
Chiseled.
Right? Chiseled. So we were playing around and doing, you know, this or that, or cut it like this. The guys wanted to see it, make sure this camera is in focus. So there's a couple tools we use. I look like the Ninja Turtles here. Those that are 40 years old, like me, would understand that. This tool here, let me just put it against my blue shirt. It's at an angle, right? And I think this is the 1.5 inch. This is called a skew chisel, okay? It's at an angle. It's sharp, right? This is not as sharp as it probably should be, so just bear with me. I know it's, you know, it's EVA, and it really doesn't matter. If I was working with like some hardwood and trying to make table legs for my grandmother's table, then, you know, we can get away with more with EVA. So, skew chisel, and then this is a gouge, okay? Some people call it a bowl. See how it's like that? All right? Both work. Kind of depends on what you want to do. I like using this one at times. I like using this one at times. So let's go ahead and make a mess, just because I feel like it. And I don't have to clean it up. Kevin's going to do that. All right, safety first. I'm going to put glasses on because, you know, we can sling stuff everywhere. I'm going to move my... How long is this foot cord, Hunter? Do you remember? It's long.
10 feet.
It'll go the whole track, right? Oh, I better... Let me check the speed here first. All right. Now again, hand and tool rest on it, right? Start it. And you can feather it a little, but you can get it going pretty good. This is a pretty, you can see how long this tool is. What are those mandrels? 16 inches?
I think 18.
18? And it's heavy. It's, you know, that blade's pretty heavy. So you can knock this down. A mess, making a mess. Okay, as Uncle Bob used to say, if you just have an electric fillet knife, whoop, you can lop that thing right off.
I wonder how you figured that one out.
Yeah, right? I can only imagine. The other good news is you can obviously, you can knock the edges down with this bowl, right? So we can knock the edges, but as you see over here, you can also create you can create shapes. And if you're doing And if you want to do like a tapered grip or something that has like a groove in it, you can come in and put like you can put a groove there, and then you can put one there, and you can put one there. You know, you can do some different things with this. Now, granted, this is not going to get it perfectly smooth, but that's pretty close to being like, I mean, no one in our right mind would put that on a rod blank. So you're still going to have to sand this. But the main thing is going to get the edges off, right? And again, this is not a lathe. So yeah, if you really probably leaned on this, we could probably slow this down.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to use that kind of force to cut EVA anyway. I'm honestly just making a bigger mess.
Yeah, you're just having fun at this point.
So anyway, that's how to do that. And that's what ends up happening. But then from there, we can still use our, use our hand and tool rests. And you're not that far from that smooth, right? So that's almost, I would still sand that a little bit more, but you're not far from sanding it. So that's pretty decent. I want to do that. Hand me that green thing with the cork. All right, so this thing is weird looking, but I took the big block and I glued some cork to it. So we have giant cork rings like these, and they work really well with these blocks. You just have to remember that these are going to sand at different rates, but you can knock down. Let's see if I can. Am I getting chewed out yet over there, Hunter?
No, you're good. You're good.
I don't know about if I'm good, but I'm okay. What was that, Uncle Phil? Is what?
Too far from the EVA.
Okay.
Kevin, max RPMs, I'm going to estimate it's around like 5,000 or 6,000 for this unit. It's up there. I mean, it's more power than you could ever need in rod building. But
and yes, he I mean, to give whoever that was credit, he absolutely is. When you have like the lathe and you have the tool rest, it gets really, really close. I don't know how it looks on, I mean, I see how it works on camera, but it's kind of like, I'm trying to like stand back a little bit from it. But yes, he is exactly right. So with your cork and your EVA, you can get it down to like, I keep thinking I'm standing in front of the camera, but it's overhead. So you can kind of knock it down there and get it to where it needs to be before. And then that will give you a visual line, because even though like, you know, the cork and the EVA have a little bit different shape, because the cork, you can see it's just a little bit off. You see a little bit of wobble there because it's not fully sanded and like honed in. But if you start on that end and give you a line, when you run it up to speed, it almost gives you like a nice line to look at, so that when you come across, yeah. Okay. How does that look? It looks pretty good. The one in the preview thing. I'm glad you guys got that new camera. That bottom shot is it. Cool. This is mess.
messy.
A mess.
But yeah, those chisels, I mean, you can really take that outside diameter down quickly.
Yeah,
and then come in with some sandpaper and give that final touch just to smooth it out. And
yeah.
I mean, you can make quick work of those blocks, you know. And obviously, if you're doing cuts and diagonals and different degrees and angles, sure, that'll take more time, but
leave it on that shot. Yeah. No, I mean, you're exactly right.
Wow. That is, that's up close and personal. Yeah, Nick, Nick's question, can you sand or cut while glued on the rod? Yes. Absolutely you can. Yeah, no issue there.
So, and yes, before you say it, I do sand with a mask on, so you need to and you should. The good news about that question, it reminds me, the best possible way to do a cork grip or EVA ring or whatever to get the best bond possible is to do each individual ring. Get a whole stack of, if these were cork rings, right, to create a fly rod. Ream them, each one individually. Do this one here and check it. Perfect fit, right? Then you check this one here, right? So imagine these are not glued. You're doing each ring. Check it, okay? Ream it, check it, ream it, check, and slide them all on. Slide them all back off that rod blank, and then glue every single one, and you will get the best bond. It'll be the best fit. You'll never get any grip wobble because there won't be any gaps under there. And you'll glue each ring, and as you glue it, they'll all come together, and then you can use our CRB clamp. Is that one way down there? See it down there at the end? Handle clamp?
Yep. Oh, missing some pieces.
That's right. Well, we got the new zoom. Show the zoom here. So there it is there with a full rod clamp down here on the end, right there. And then you see the rod blank through it. And then, so you can do that. That is how the CRB Deluxe. This thing is ridiculous. Can you see if I have a cavity? Anyway, so there's the handle clamp. That is exactly how I would do it.
Nope.
So yes, do it.
Nope.
Yeah, we have a bunch of empty boxes up here. I feel like somebody's gone Christmas shopping up here before. All right. Yeah. So that's that.
Good stuff.
I think that's enough of a mess
Yep.
this evening.
Let's do
y'all get it.
giveaway number 2 of the night. It's going to be a mud hole.
Wait just a second. Let me do the fly rod. real
Pause.
quick. Let me do the fly rod. I'm going to need your help to
Yep.
kind of spot it. So when we have the full, we're going to have to check the. All right. This is a 12 weight Loomis cross current Pro 1. It's one of my tarpon rods. Good?
Think so.
All right. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of give me the light.
Yep.
Yeah.
Support.
All right. Look at this cork. That's what tarpon look like after you've caught them, okay? This is an old fishing rod, and it's caught a bunch of fish. I'm not a cork grip cleaner, as you can see. I don't like doing it. I feel like it, I don't know, like takes the juju off the rod. Now, this is why I like the Power Wrapper for the 10th reason, right? Because you can bring a rod that is fully built, and let's say you don't like the shape of this cork, okay? Loomis fly rods, they're great, but I've never liked this like misshapen handle. But I don't fish this rod, my clients do, so I don't really care. They like it, so I let them fish it that way. So you can come in here and clean this up using, we got a mask?
Mask.
All right. You'd think after 118 episodes we had this dialed in. Thank you. Just at least keep some of that out of my face. All right. Pretty big difference. And that is, don't go crazy, that's 120. We sell, I think 80. 80 is medium, the 120 is fine, and then we sell 320 as This is 320. I was just using 120. This is our very fine or extra fine. Is it very fine or extra fine?
I think it's extra fine.
I think it's extra fine too. Pretty nice. I mean, I just smudged that. Wonderful. But that is how, if you want to clean the grips up and you want to adjust it, you don't have to sand a grip to clean it. I'm just wiping it. There's a little rubbing alcohol here. You don't necessarily have to sand it to clean it. You can use like magic eraser or like Dawn and whatever. But if you want to change the shape a tiny bit and you want to clean it up and make it look new, you know, maybe once a season or once every, I've had this Cross Current Pro 1 for, I don't know, maybe 12 years. So it's never been cleaned. So, you know, there you go. But we just chucked it right in the power wrapper. This is a one-piece, 12-weight Loomis Cross Current Pro 1. So you can pretty much do it to anything you got. It just comes right out.
Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't want to hit that light.
Yep.
They're kind of irreplaceable. They don't make them anymore. So yeah. So I trust it that much that I'm not going to booger up a rod that is irreplaceable. So yeah.
Cool.
All right, continue on with the messes.
Yeah, let me do one quick question here. Let me make sure I got the right one. Yeah, Michael, cork seal. So U40 was actually just went through a transfer of ownership. They should be fulfilling product very, very soon. So we hope to have U40 cork seal back in stock pretty soon. Unfortunately, there really isn't too much of an alternative. Chris, can you think of any other alternatives to cork seal besides U40?
No,
Yeah.
I don't use either, so it doesn't really.
Okay.
As you can see.
Yeah, asking the wrong guy.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. But no, the cork seal is a great product if that's what you want, but I just don't use it.
Yeah. Let's do, I think we're ready. Giveaway number 2.
Have at it.
All right. Mud hole rod kit of choice. We got a lot of good choices up there. There's some mud hole rod blank options. There's MHX options. We got some staff choice signature kits.
For sure.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. So whatever you see fit from our selection of rod kits. Let's run that giveaway. Who we got?
This is something else. Look at this thing.
Aaron H. Aaron H. Stand by for that last name. Yeah, the tool rest might need a bath after the show.
Yeah.
All right, what's that last name? Aaron Hill. That's some easy ones so far. I appreciate this. Aaron Hill, congrats.
Yay.
Yay. Not so fun for you.
Good for you, Hunter.
All right, congrats, Aaron. Make sure you email live@mudhole.com, claim that prize.
Yeah.
And we're going to move on. We got last demos of the night. What are you going to kick us off with here? What do you got?
Since I put this rod blank in here, let's go ahead and do tape arbors.
Okay.
All right. So, is that real seat? Where's that real seat? Got it. All right. CRB Pro or CRB product used to be real seat.
Yeah.
These are the color ones going?
Those are going to shift to Mudhole brand. Yep.
Oh, but they're the same.
Yep.
They're just
We'll keep
okay.
them.
We didn't discontinue. We're
Just
gonna
changing brands.
have a different sticker on them.
Yep.
All right, so this is how I do tape arbors in my RDS Pro. I'm going to measure this with my handy dandy digital calipers. Should be 15.5 millimeters ish, 15.25. Doesn't really matter, to be honest with you, because all you're going to do is you're going to get the inner diameter with this side of your digital caliper. Okay, run it out, set screw, tight. That's your measurement for your tape arbor. Real quick and easy, so you don't have to keep going like, nope, nope, yep. If you do need to like make final adjustments when you're done, you know, maybe always go like a little more, like a hair more, and then you don't have to worry about it. So we're just gonna create a tape arbor. I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. We'll try to back away here so you can see. Is that okay? We're good? Yeah, yes, we're good. Be good enough to see me mess up, so. I cheated a little too much. I dialed it down. See? Too much, right? All you got to do, back it off. Okay? If I was paying attention, I wouldn't have wasted so much tape on that. But I was concentrating. I wouldn't hold my mouth just right. Okay? Close? That one is a little sideways, a tiny bit. You can move it. Now remember, for all of you that like to argue about tape arbors, it's not a structural piece. All it does is hold the reel seat centered on the rod. Now once you have that one, it does make it a little bit easier. To get close. Okay. Tape arbors.
Done.
Sweet.
Did that by hand with a hand wrapper or just by yourself? You're sitting there for 10 minutes, 15 minutes doing that.
Your forms look like Popeye. So tape arbors. There you go. Easy.
Easy.
And then you just glue and there you go. All right, cool. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
That's it.
All right, so tape arbors. You know, I probably should have thought that through a little bit better because I'm actually, can you measure me out some finish while I'm getting in?
Yeah, absolutely.
So tape arbors. And then, gosh, we might actually like trying to get us out of here before 8 o'clock. It might just happen. All right. Here's one you might not have seen before. 1/4" mandrel. Because we got what? 1/4, 3/8, 5/16.
7/16.
7/16?
I believe.
I don't know.
Put me on the
The
spot.
product guy. This is a 1/4" mandrel. Okay. Now, one of the cool things about the power wrapper is if you look in here, Justin, can you get in there? All right. So if you look inside there, it has these like jaws that are kind of pointy. Oh, hang on right there. You can see it. Look right there when I move that. Okay. So that is, it looks like there's 3 pointed like metal teeth. They come together like this. There's 3 of them in there. They're on each one of the chucks. I actually, when I run a 1/4" mandrel, I actually take and tape it, and then you see where the teeth bite into it. I don't always run the 1/4" mandrel out here on these little chuck feet, mainly because I don't do a lot of 1/4" anything, and it's only the mandrel. So if I'm only using a 1/4" mandrel, then I leave the wider teeth on it so I can use the 3/8, which the 3/8 will fit in there too, surprisingly. I use, where was that other mandrel that I made such a mess with? Oh. Here's a 3/8 mandrel. The 3/8 mandrel with a little tape on it, you see how the teeth bit into it? They will fit in there. See how it fits in there? I use that a lot with tape because it'll bite it. Okay? And then with a regular rod blank, I don't want to do that because you'll crush the rod blank. So I use these rubber feet with the rod blank like I just did a second ago. Anyway, 1/4" mandrel bites into the tape. Okay? Let me get my pro stand. my adjustments here. All right, so we sell these guys, okay? This is a small spool. It's like spool-S or something, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You're really catching on.
It's like I've worked here for a little bit.
We try to make it easy sometimes.
Here's a big old giant spool of thread. For those that like to buy the 4-ounce spools, this is Pro Wrap Nylon 513. See there? So if you do a lot of rods, but you also use a hand wrapper and such, this is what a 4-ounce spool looks like. It is a whole bunch of thread. Do we know the yardage on this? Do you know the yardage on this?
It's a couple thousand.
4-ounce spool. I take a small spool. We sell these. They're blank. I take a little piece of tape. Right? So to give it something to grip to. Piece of tape. I take one of the bigger mandrels, because we have, well, we've got, well, this is either the 7 or the 9/16 one. You get the idea. We're just filling spools here. Seems simple enough, but it's, you know.
2,300, is it yards or feet?
It ain't feet.
Well, there was a comment in the chat, it's feet, so. So you get 23 small spools out of that big spool.
Cool.
Pretty nice.
So yeah, you can, you know, for somebody that you're like me and you use a lot of black nylon, there's no reason to buy a bunch of these little guys. Now I will say, when you do this, you do have to put a little arbor underneath to really snug it down. But you just put your 1/4-inch mandrel in there, you put you a couple tape arbors with your power wrapper, then you just slide your spool, it'll lock it down like that guy, doesn't go anywhere, and get to filling. And then you're ready to do whatever you need to do with it. And if, you know, you want to use the Madeira spools, you want to use anything that doesn't come on these spools, have at it. Fill it up. Fill it up.
There you go. Right. I got your finish here.
Okay.
I couldn't find a little foil dish. Not sure if you need it or not, but.
No, I don't need it.
There you go.
So let me
Need a rod blank?
Yep. Need a rod blank. 756. We're not going to get out of here for you.
Nope.
Because we're going to have to do questions, but it doesn't mean that the thought wasn't there. You know, the effort was there.
We tried.
It's all right. Nobody's going anywhere tonight anyway.
Yeah, everyone's snowed in. Except us.
Except us. Hang on. Oh, you have to pay attention to this thing. I don't know if you can hear this, but you can crack it. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but you can crush a blank with this chuck. So be careful. I don't know. I just felt like doing it. All right. We're finishing. Little finish tool tray here. We don't have the things locked here because we can move this thing. All right. We got this. Oh, we're just missing it. Hang on.
Scoot it up.
Okay. Finish tray. It's got a little, hold that, right? If you want to use your foil dish, or if you want to use your metal cups, it'll hold that. This over here, that spot, Everybody get ready to clutch your pearls. It's for the alcohol burner. Oh no, not the alcohol burner. So if you want to use it, great. That's what it's there for. But you don't have to. To power finish, I also, just like I do in the past, I cut the bristles. I take a new, see, you can probably see it here. Take a new blade. Jeez Louise. I can only imagine how much of that, oh, it's all in it. I just lay it down on the table. Oh, you probably can get me out here, right? Can you get me? We showed this on the Big Finish show. I lay it on the table. I cut it with a brand new razor blade. Cut it nice and flat, right? Sometimes you have a little bit of a kind of a wild hair there, and I'll come in and touch it up just a little bit. So, just so you can see here, tried to use a little regular nylon. So, some people might start out on the rod blank and work in. Sometimes it is better if you start on the thread and work out. If I power finish, I start on the thread and work out. Let me get this speed dialed here so that I'm not feathering the pedal. I get to one speed that I like. This is great. I've made a big enough mess already. Everybody just stand back. You can also use the hand and tool rest here, or we also do the hand on hand. Then we run our finish out. Okay. I'm trying to get it to change enough here so that you can see it. And you can grab finish and kind of gather it and push it across, right? You can push it out on the blank as far as you want. Can't really see that one. I was trying to get to where you could see like a really sharp line.
You want like a white background or something?
I know, right?
How about just a paper towel?
No? Don't we have a piece of paper, a notebook or a paper or something? I thought I was going to be smart and use a color that would change color, but I was stupid and used one that wouldn't show enough. Anyway, I think you guys can see that a little bit. Also, you can take, if you do your long under wraps, we showed this on the finish show. You can walk it down, right? And of course, when I crush that rod blank, it's why it's... Should have done that after I did this. Because it's not helping. Can you see that, Phil, at all? Trying to get me another angle? Well, I probably didn't pick the best colors for this, but I apologize.
But still, I mean, you know, it definitely can speed up the process and getting those clean lines. Even though you can't see it super well on there, I mean, the higher speed that you finish at, within reason.
Yeah, we'll give you a sharper.
The super sharp clean
The
lines.
good news is as you go down this thing, really all then you have to do is come over here to the outside. Move the band from the motor, from one motor to the next. Just put the band and switch it. And then now you're in drying mode. Yeah, that would have been, I don't know what the move, I guess I should have used that like bright yellow or something. Anyway, sorry that that didn't come across. But everybody saw that in the Big Finish show. So
Yeah.
if you haven't seen the Big Finish show, it was last month. But that is kind of the ins and outs of what you can do with an RBS Pro G2 power wrap.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
What's
Great
about,
stuff. Yeah.
What we got? Any other questions?
Let's switch real quick. I actually want to touch on a few
Oh, yeah. Am I
few
coming back over here?
things. Yeah. We could. I'm gonna move a few of these things out of the way.
How do you get the finish off your shirt? Did I get it? Oh, I did, didn't I? Sweet. Christopher, this finish is going to be on this shirt for the next 118 episodes. So I think it was only in that one spot. But yeah.
Whoop.
All right.
Whoop. Throwing stuff everywhere.
Perfect.
Yep. Oh. All right. Let's see what we got. Perfect. I'm gonna leave it right there. We good, guys? Clean enough? So, talk about these pulleys. I'm not going to go in too depth into this, but just to give you guys a little bit of extra info, we've showed lots of ways to utilize this unit. Let's talk a little bit about the brains behind the operation and these two motors back here and pulleys. So you can see we have the main large pulley. That's obviously connected to the drive shaft. That's going to be able to turn your chuck. You also have these two small pulleys, right? We have this one closer to the front of the camera that's going to operate our wrapping motor, and then this one, which the pulley is connected to right now, or the band, excuse me, is connected to our drying motor. So that in itself is one of the best features about this G2 wrapper, is you can go from wrapping to drying, or not wrapping per se, but turning handles, wrapping at high speeds, etc., finishing at high speeds. With just the flip of this band from this small pulley to this small pulley, now you're in dry mode.
Yep.
Obviously, you got to switch it up here on the control, but it's that easy.
And speaking of dry mode, Ron
yeah.
asked, does the drying mode reverse directions just like the basic model? Go ahead and grab that
Yep,
thing.
it does.
Switch it. You usually have to grab the, you're going to get finished in your hand.
There we go.
Yep.
So just like that.
Yep. Just reach down and grab the actual, because sometimes that band is not going to actually, there's not enough, force on it.
And I want to hit on a couple of things. I saw a few comments earlier in the show about, if you have any issues with, the motor smoking or any kind of smell or anything like that, first thing, please just stop. We got to, don't continue to use those motors. Usually what the culprit is you have too much tension between these two pulleys. So your band is causing too much, restriction. It's causing too much, constraint with these two pulleys, and then that wears down on the motors. So if you're having that problem, the great thing about both of these small pulleys is they are adjustable up and down. So you can see there's these screws, there's 2 screws and some washers per each pulley, and you can move those up and down. There's a slot there that gives you a little bit of leeway, play up and down. So if you are having any issues, if you're hearing the motors, any kind of crazy noises or smoke or any of those bad things, please stop using it right away and do some slight adjustments, see if that fixes your problem. If it doesn't, reach out to our customer service team right away. We'll take care of you. Definitely play around with those adjustments and make sure you don't have too much tension or constraint between your two pulleys. The other thing is you'll notice you get 2 different bands with your G2. This one here that we're using right now is actually what we refer to as the V band. It's a little more durable, and typically you would use that when you're doing it high speeds, whether you're wrapping or turning grips. We also have just a regular O-ring silicone band that is typically preferred for the drying side. So 2 different bands to kind of interchange in and out, just depending on what your needs are. But just wanted to go over the pulley and the motor side of this unit. Like I said, we went over a lot of the use cases in that, but really one of the best features is being able to wrap and dry in one unit. Mm-hmm. You can't beat it. So
I like this too, and not to, this isn't, I like that people are catching this, and we can't answer this question right now, but good catch, Joseph. He said, what's the dovetail on the top for? Joseph, just hang tight. Can't tell you tonight, but good catch. Good catch. Timmy asks, when do you use the smooth belt just for drying? Yes, Hunter was just mentioning that. To be honest with you, I don't think I've ever used the smooth belt. I think just that V belt, and we have done horrible things to this Pro G2. Like, this is the one that stays in here. It's the one that we build on. It's the one that we test things on. We do horrible things to this, and we've not had to change the belt. It hasn't stretched out. We do sell extra belts if you do ever, have that issue. But again, this one right here does not live a nice life, and we've never had to change one out. But we do have them in case something happens. The round smooth, more silicone belt. Yeah, you could stretch that one. You could, I just have never used it.
Yeah, both work. Obviously we give, the practical reasons why to use one over the other for this and that, but at the end of the day, either belt will work for almost all applications in rod building, so Go for it.
For sure. Let's see. No, James asks, have you ever, whoops. Actually, this is a good question. Do you know, Hunter, offhand, that is a 9 RPM motor, right?
Yes, so, and one thing I didn't touch on that, just really quick, you'll notice...
Yes, George, I'm sorry. I'm touching this thing and it's... George asks, is it possible to reverse the direction of the drying motor? Yes, George, that is correct. I was trying to put up...
What's going on?
I'm putting comments and touching, and I think the guys in the war room are also helping, but it's also not doing what I need it to do. So somebody was asking, have we ever broke a belt? Or it's almost like this thing isn't I have to touch it. Okay, I'm just not going to do it right now, because what it is it's like it's not aligned. Like when I touch the question, it hits the one below it. It's almost like that it's not calibrated, which it's been calibrated all night. So yeah, anyway, sorry about that, guys. We'll get back to it.
Let me finish off this though.
Yes, please.
So, both the two small pulleys and this large pulley have 2 steps per each. Channels, steps, whatever you want to call them, right? So there's inside and outside. You can, check the instruction sheet that you get with your G2. It's going to be in the box. It's going to give you a chart, kind of guidelines, parameters of how to use these belts, and if you use the inside channel for this pulley and the outside channel for this, you're going to get this range of RPM. That works for not only the wrapping motor, but also for the drying motor. If I remember correctly, the different configurations, you can actually have it to where on the lowest speed you're down around 8 or 9 RPM. The fastest drying motor speed, you're going to be around like 12 to 15. So I mean, it's nominal. There's a limited range of your drying speed capabilities. But on the wrapping side of things, it's a much broader range. So depending on what belt you use and the different step configurations, you can come out with different RPMs at the end of the day. But reference that chart and the instructions, and that'll be a helpful guide to point you in the right direction.
Yes, absolutely. Somebody said, can you show a close-up of the belt tension and how tight it is supposed to be? So for the tension, just shut that off and see. I'm trying to think like how to describe it. I know
it's tough.
Can you see it from? Oh, you can see it from that side. Go to that one over there and see if you can. Yeah. So you can see there's a pretty good amount of play in it in terms of like tension. I like it to where you can, like with one finger, you can walk it off the pulley. but it's still kind of like, it's still tough, right? It's not super easy. I put it on the bottom pulley first and then come up to the top and roll it over is how I usually do it, right? So it doesn't want to come off. Like it's pretty snug, but that is, if that gives you about the tension there. Pinched in the center, where's that digital caliper?
Right there.
Right there. Pinched right above the pulley. It's 1 1/4 inches right there. So it's about 1 1/4 inches on the outside of that pulley. Like I said, it really doesn't want to come off. Like I'm getting on it pretty good, but when I take it off, go up, Phil. When I take it off, I roll it off of this top one like this and walk it off. And I'll just do it like that to go back on. So it's not super tight, but to be honest, we could probably run that. We could probably run that a little bit tighter, but because we're constantly having to go like, oh, put it on the drying, put it on the wrapping, put it on the drying. And I mean, you see we cut EVA tonight on it and we sanded the grips and we put a pretty good amount of oomph behind it. So, I mean, I don't think it needs to be too much tighter than that. I probably wouldn't go looser than that, honestly.
Yeah, and honestly, don't go tighter either. You know, if you compress this little area that we're talking about and you cannot move that in like that, it's too tight.
Yeah.
It should not be to where if you're not able to push that in and have a little bit of give to it, trust me, you're too tight. And like Chris said, if you're able to pull this off, see I'm kind of giving it that kind of tug to the side. If you're able to pull that belt off that easily, it's too loose.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fine line, but there's a little bit of room to work with there. The main thing is you don't want it too tight.
Yeah.
If it's too loose, you're gonna know, trust me, because the belt's just gonna kind of fling off and no harm, no foul. If this thing is too tight though, you're gonna bind up the pulleys, you're gonna bind up the motors, and it's just not gonna be good for the unit at all. So
yeah. Ralph, when you ask the reason for 2 motors, if the wrapping motor gets down to a low RPM, why have a separate motor? Ralph, that is just the drying motor. 1, it is reversible, and 2, it's just a constant low speed, consistent motor that otherwise you're going to have to push the pedal down. It's just not, we want a drying motor that we can just set it and walk away. It's got 1 speed and it's just a consistent drying motor, as opposed to your the motor that has like the rheostat in it where you can change speeds and stuff like that. So it's a simplicity thing, honestly. Let's see. Yes, Chris, the chuck inside of the head of that is on ball bearings. It's very smooth. Very smooth. Also, the inside of the face here is indexed. So 0 to 360. You can see the numbers as they come around. This is indexed. So it allows you, to kind of, you got it? Yeah, you see it. So that the inside of that face is indexed. So it gives you degrees if, as you're working on different things. Whether it is something like an acid wrapped rod, do a spiral wrap or do some different types of decorative wraps. It is also indexed on the inside there. Let's see. Let me go. There's a bunch of pinned comments. We're good on demos? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to run a 7 minutes in heaven power question round? Get ready to get on soup mode.
Q&A.
Let's see. Yes. So John asks, I purchased many wooden cork rings from Mudhole. Assume they can be shaped with the power wrapper. Yeah, John. So as we mentioned before, you can do it 2 ways. If I am doing a cork handle on a fly rod like this, and you want to get it, you want the best bond possible, put each individual ring on. Size each one, do each individual ring. The power wrapper allows you to do that because you can glue it and never take this out of the power wrapper, and you can go right to sanding it. Whereas if you have a lathe at the house, you've got to glue it on a mandrel. Make sure to wax that mandrel first. Glue it on a mandrel, shape it on a lathe, knock it off a mandrel, ream it out, try to get it as close to possible, and then put it on a rod blank. So you, John, you never have to take it out. And in reality, if you're not building a lot of fishing rods, that rod never has to come out of this power wrapper from start to finish. It just really doesn't. Let's see. This question, how do you cut the square EVA into pieces when the jigs are round? Tim, we're using a saw to cut these shapes, right? So if you follow when Mary does it, she's not taking rings and putting them in the cork ring jigs. She is cutting everything with blocks. Her blocks do not have holes in them. She's cutting everything on blocks. They're gluing it up. Then they're running the pilot hole, cutting it, shaping it, doing all that thing that they do, all the artwork that they do with it, and then they mount it on there. So if you want to use the jigs, you got to use the round. They're really cork ring jigs, to be honest with you. They're not for the EVA stuff, even though you can still use the EVA, the CM18s in it. So that's why we're doing it. Alex, whoops, sorry. Advice for mandrels popping out when turning down cork rings with an RBS 2. So I showed you that earlier. When you're using the cork rings, 99% of the time, you're using a 1/4-inch mandrel. Put 5 or 6 or 8 wraps of 1/2-inch masking tape that I used on the end of a 1/4-inch mandrel and run.
Whoa,
there it is.
Right in the trash.
Use this 1/2-inch tape, put it on the end of the mandrel, like that. Put it right on there on the end of the mandrel. That tape on the end of the mandrel. And you can see the teeth, all the teeth marks on there. That is from the inside metal teeth gripping and biting into this. It's on the inside of that chuck. That's what I use when I'm like adding some torque to that thing. And not that the rubber feet won't hold it, but like you saw there, you can, especially if you're working away from the chuck instead of at it. If you're working away from it and you're putting some heat on those cork rings or the EVA or any of that stuff, you can work it out. Use the tape, put it on the inside on the metal teeth, and that will really, really, that'll kind of help you out there. Mary, this is a great tip. Where is it at? There it is. You can actually get the contact cement to release if you flood it with new contact cement. The new liquid will break the bond. I'm guessing, just like I've had things where you've had a boo-boo and you're like, how are we going to fix this?
Yeah.
And you figure that out. So awesome tip on getting contact cement apart, because it usually says on the back, like,
Good luck.
what contact cement is. You are there. This is a great question. Do you put anything on the mandrel before you put the EVA on? You don't have to. Now, I will say there are times where each one of these holes in this block, it's a 3/8. This is a 3/8 mandrel. There are times where it slides on a little easier or looser or tighter, or they're all just a little tiny bit different. If you're using the block with the pre-drilled holes, there are times where I will wrap. You see I did an open wrap of tape here. This open wrap of tape will just barely add enough tension to it, and the edges of the tape sometimes will roll as you work it on, and it'll actually help to lock the block to the mandrel a little bit better. You don't have to wax the mandrel like you do if you're using like pro paste and glues with cork rings. So there's really nothing that you have to do to the mandrel if you're using EVA blocks or if you're using
Oh, well, I hope you at home saw just what happened.
he hit one of the overhead lights and with the turning wax. So, that was good. It's late in the night.
It is, yeah.
So
I think that's our cue.
there's your turning mandrel wax. Cool. Let's see. Yes, Mike, we've got the shop vac right here. So I didn't want to run the shop vac while I was cutting because I just didn't think you guys needed any more noise in the background. But I do run a shop vac when I'm sanding or when I'm cutting, and it catches it great. So that is a great, it's a great tip. Yes, Bob, you are right. Thank you for that. And thank you for pointing that for all our watchers. That tool rest was too far away from the EVA. I was just trying to make sure we showed as much as we could show. I certainly wouldn't do that on wood. And also, don't ever take your eyes off of your tool when you are running on a lathe or on this. Sometimes you'll see people like running it and talking and be like, yeah, you see what I'm doing there? Don't do that. So always also keep it. Let's see. Yes, those are wood cutting chisels. They're inexpensive ones from Harbor Freight. You can get very expensive ones if you want. You can also sharpen them. It's an 8-piece wood lathe set. Yes, the EVA, he says new to rod building when choosing EVA grips is the 3/8 the inner diameter. We sell the blocks have a 3/8 inner diameter. The round, these guys, the CM18s, these come in different diameters.
Yes.
Quarter, 3/8 and half, I think.
I think 3/8, half, 5/8.
Okay, cool. These come in different diameters. Also, our EVA grips, pre-shaped, pre-made, they're going to come in typically 3 to 4 or even more diameters. 90% of the cork, not 99 anymore, but 90% of the cork that you're going to get from us and everybody else is going to come in a 1/4 inch diameter. We do have some larger, the rings I shaped tonight, the big wide ones.
Piece go.
They over there? Okay. These giant rings, these just so happen to be a 3/8, so they match the block. So just keep in mind when you get this cut down and then you start sanding, the EVA and the cork can sand at different rates, and you can actually get like a belly in it at times. It's the same if this is maybe like a hard acrylic and the EVA is soft. This EVA is actually very, very dense though. It has a very high durometer rating, but they'll sand at different rates. So just pay attention to that. Yes, you can do that. Let's see. Hal, by the way, Chris, can you get your masking tape dispenser and put 3 rolls of the same tape size, spin the tape with that power wrapper at low speed? Yes, you can. It's this one here. I didn't want to pull out too many toys tonight, but there is your 3 tape dispenser. It's got your ball bearings on the bottom. The wheels fit into the tray like that. Slide around. You can put 3 sizes on it and you're good. Okay. It takes a little more. You got to hold your mouth just right, but it is doable. So yeah, I to be honest, I just don't have the guts to do it on live. You know, it'd end up just everywhere. So, oh, I wanted to get to this one. Is it worth using a power wrapper on 4-piece fly rods, or should you just start and finish on the hand wrapper? If you are doing a lot or only fly rods, you're probably going to use the power wrapper more for custom grips, your finishing, things like that, than you will wrapping. And I say that because the diameter of most, even that 12 weight one piece, I mean, that tip top is like a 4, maybe. And if you're doing like a 3 weight, you know, you're looking at like a 3.5 or a 3. So trying to run a power wrapper with that thin of a diameter of blank, in my opinion, you're asking for a little bit of trouble there.
Yeah.
Tension-wise, possibly breaking something. People do it all the time, and they get really good at it. But it's not something I would just dive right into and be like, oh, I'm going to build a 2/8 fly rod on a power wrapper.
All right, let's do a giveaway. I'm going to cut you off there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Unless you got any important questions.
No, run the giveaway if there's something else.
All right, let's do last giveaway of the night. G2 Power Wrapper. Wrap this thing up here. Let's see who our lucky last winner of the night is. Charles A.
Oh, be something good.
Charles A.
Give me I want like 12 consonants and like 1 vowel.
A's not a good starting letter.
Somebody that played for like the Detroit Red Wings or something. You know, like give me.
I'm gonna go with Andrews. I'm hoping Charles Andrews. I don't know. I just made that up.
Give me something good.
Stand by. Stand by.
Well,
Gotta call it in.
A good, solid Eastern European language.
No.
We're waiting on the carrier pigeon. Oh.
There it is. Albers? Albers? Yeah. Charles Albers? We'll go with that. Congrats, Charles.
Good for you.
Lucky grand prize winner.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. G2 Power Wrapper. Make sure you email live@mudhole.com. Claim that prize.
Yes. Real quick, Everett, this is a great question, and I wanted to touch on it. Off topic, with live scope use becoming more prevalent, longer rods are becoming way more popular for, let's say, crappie, but I'm also going to throw in there for bass. Is Mudhole coming out with any new blanks? I thought that I heard about some 7.6s.
Yes, we do. We got some in the works. Not only do we have some in the works, we already have a decent selection.
We do, but these particularly.
Yeah. Soon, very, very soon. We got some new models, and we're also working on some website upgrades to make your shopping experience much better, including such things as, forward-facing sonar, aka live scope. We're looking at making up some updates to really make the shopping experience better for the consumer, and especially around these new techniques and applications that
terminology and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of good stuff coming soon.
Awesome. All right. I told you that I thought we were going to get out of here, and I lied to you right to your face. So I will be running for office here pretty soon. No. So it is 8:28, and we do need to get y'all out of here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope we could cover. There's so much going on with this thing. It is a great tool. We really love it. We abuse the heck out of it, and she's still running. So look into the Power Wrapper. If you have any questions, all the customer service people downstairs, you can always get a hold of Hunter and I. If you have one and you're using a trick or you got a tip or something and you're not putting it up in the Mudhole Live Rod Builders Workshop on Facebook, you really should help a fellow rod builder out. A lot of great questions. Everything was in here. Thank you so much. Also, big shout out to Mary. Christy was in here a lot tonight. Hopefully Wes was also doing his due diligence and, I don't know, keeping her glass of water full while she was answering questions and helping out. She put the little ones to bed, and she joined us for an hour and 55 minutes of rod building on a Tuesday night. So they must just have a lot of snow out there. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. For the team in the war room tonight, I saw, putting up links and answering questions and doing all that. So we've got some nuggets tonight that we got to get to. No hot pockets, but we're going to get to some nuggets. Thank you very much, Justin, on the Zoom. That camera is it. Not to take it away from you, but the camera is it. So also to our little man up in the rafters holding that camera all night long, That was an excellent, and of course, Uncle Phil and the ones and twos. Thank you for mixing up some good stuff. Hunter, my left-hand man as always. I appreciate it.
Of course.
And thank you for bringing out the credit card tonight. There were some big ones.
Fresh start to the new year, so let's rack it up.
That's it. Almost 2 hours. The next show topic is going to be in February, and it's going to be cross wraps. So we're going to be showing, there it is right there, the new butt wrap alignment tool, and we're going to put Hunter on the spot because he does an excellent job at cross wraps, but we're going to do some little cool things with it. We'll get it also on the RDS Pro G2 power wrapper.
Absolutely.
And show you how to use it with the pulleys off, because we really like that. Episode 119, Tuesday, February 18th at 6:30 Eastern. We're going to get out of here, eat some nuggets. Thank you guys very much for watching, and everybody be safe, be warm. Turn that heater on. I don't even know if mine works, but we're going to crank it up. We'll see y'all next time.
Thanks for watching.
Take care.